was the Victorians who cherished the idea of home as a domestic haven. They coined the phrase safe as houses.
And in this age of invention, homes were bursting at the seams with new gadgets, products and conveniences. In the bedroom were the latest beauty products and manufactured clothes, while in the nursery the toys were brand new and factory produced. And for the first time, the stove warmed the entire house. The original home sweet home. But there was a problem.
Many of the exciting products and appealing innovations they welcomed into their homes were not just health hazards, they were killers.
And with the aid of science, I'll seek out these domestic assassins.
Oh, their houses were disgusting.
I'll be revealing what the Victorians couldn't see inside their homes.
These things undoubtedly would have killed many children.
And showing the terrible injuries that were inflicted in the name of progress.
What you need to do is move your bust up. Okay, just...
And I'll feel the strain of chasing the Victorian ideal.
I feel a bit better now.
Welcome to the perilous world of the real Victorian home.
In the second half of the 19th century, cities exploded to house the booming middle classes. In just over 50 years, their number grew from 2.5 million to over 9. And these new urban middle classes took immense pride in their homes. They had money and they wanted to spend it on making their houses cosy havens of domesticity and comfort.
Not for these people, the grim perils of Victorian factory life, or the gritty reality of the overcrowded streets. The sort of family who lived here enjoyed a level of comfort and luxury previously unknown to ordinary people.
The cost of necessities fell dramatically, and new mass production techniques made goods available and affordable.
This meant a level of conspicuous consumption never witnessed before. They filled their rooms with things that made the house a home.
They'd been inspired by the Great Exhibition of 1851, which showcased the latest and the best in gadgets and consumer goods.
What had been happening now for the best part of 100 years suddenly crystallized in this extraordinary exhibition. It wasn't so much that it was new as it was just suddenly boom in bulk. As the century went on and consumerism began to increase, one of the fascinating things is that the phrase standard of living first appeared. For the first time in history, you measured how good your life was by how many objects you possessed. When you think about it, that's actually a very strange idea.
You couldn't just buy anything. What was and what wasn't tasteful was discussed at length in the many and various new household guides and magazines. John Ruskin, the leading art critic and social theorist, impressed on Victorian consumers the importance of making the right choices.
Good taste is essentially a moral quality. What we like determines what we are, and to teach taste is inevitably to form character.
Yet while the Victorians fretted about abstract notions of morality, they were oblivious to the real dangers that came from things they had welcomed into their houses. Every room in the Victorian home was filled with hidden killers.
And one of the most dangerous places was the drawing room.
The Victorians were really rejecting the idea of the 18th century classicism, the restraint, the delicacy, the white walls. That was all over. They wanted clutter, they wanted colour, they wanted excess. They really furnished to show that for them colour and clutter and objects, that was wealth and that was importance and that was riches.
One thing that particularly indicated both good taste and status was wallpaper. The richer the pattern and the darker, more vivid the colour, the better. Why? Because with the introduction of gas lighting for the first time in history, there was enough light in the house for ordinary people to have and enjoy intense colour on their walls.
As a result, there was something of a wallpaper craze. Manuals like Cassell's Household Guide, which told the Victorians how to do everything, outlined principles of good taste and told them which patterns of wallpaper to buy.
They were influencing a massive market. Wallpaper sales had shot up from around 1 million pieces a year in 1834 to 32 million by 1874.
Cassell's even gives what it calls its theory of colour. It describes its rules for the artistic appreciation in dress, in furniture, and it recommends green. It calls it a colour of repose. It says the eye experiences a healthy and peculiarly grateful impression from this colour, as opposed to something like yellowish red, which it says is the preference of impetuous, robust men and savage nations.
A particularly brilliant green, known as Scheele's green, was all the rage. Scheele was the Swedish scientist who first mixed the pigment to produce an intensely vivid colour that didn't fade. Its incredible popularity meant that it was used in everything from carpets, blancmange, candles and children's toys. But most of all, it was used in industrial quantities in wallpaper. There was one strange coincidence. As wallpaper sales escalated, so did reports of unexplained deaths and illnesses in the home. But there was nothing mysterious about it. The magic ingredient that was giving the wallpaper its rich green hue was arsenic.
These were samples of what would be considered as tasteful